shifting to a vaccine. Yeah, we're still doing contact tracing, or still doing case investigation, contact tracing. But if we have vaccine to give, we are going to do that first and then go back to the case investigation, contact tracing. We're able to send a lot of that to the state now to do. We are very behind on case investigation. Over the holiday weekend, I think we received like 130 some new cases in 2 days. So, we are behind on that. We have communicated with the doctors' offices in the county. They are giving individuals, when they test positive, when they're calling them, they're giving them information on what they need to do to isolate, to contact their contacts, to tell them to quarantine. Because all over the state right now, it's just really hard to do the case investigation the way we were doing it, because there's just so many cases, and we're doing vaccine now. And obviously the vaccine is going to take precedence, because that's what's going to get us out of this mess eventually. So you guys have any questions?
I would just like to ask, because I've heard a lot of it, I received a couple phone calls, but who determines who can get this vaccine and how many doses we get sent to Preston County? Because a lot of people have a misconception that the three of us do that and have that power, and we have nothing to do with it. It's not in our lane at all.
Basically, the state has a committee set up, and I'm drawing a blank on the exact name of it. They call it the JIAD or something like that. It's basically the governor's office, it's Health Command, it's the National Guard, DHHR is involved with it. They have various people, and they meet on a daily basis, and they are the ones that are making the decisions as to how much vaccine is sent out to different entities and who falls where in that phase one. And they do that based on obviously where they think the greatest need is, but it's also a big factor is how much vaccine is coming in.
Right.
For example, last week, the amount of vaccine that came in was way less than what they were first told, and that's what's coming in from Pfizer and Moderna. So they're at the mercy of how much they get. And once they know how much they're going to get, they have to figure out where to send that out to. And they're just trying to do that to make the biggest impact. That's why hospital workers, nursing homes, first responders were up first on the list, because those people are the ones out there, dealing with people. Now, there are a lot of other organizations that fall into that same category and are just as important as those, and they are working on them, they're looking at them, but to give you an idea of when they will fall and where, I don't know at the health department level. All I know is usually on Mondays or Tuesdays, I'm sent a list of the people that we're to vaccinate later this week and how many doses we're getting. And that's what I'm waiting on right now, is that list to come in and tell me how many doses and who we're supposed to give them to later this week. And once we find that out, then we make our plans to go about doing that as best we can.
Sounds like it's on a fairly fair, equal.
It must be working, because I heard a report this morning, West Virginia is number 2 in the nation with the percentage of people that have been vaccinated already.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's still a very small number,
Yeah.
but the only other state ahead of us is like North or South Dakota.
Well, and as of last week, West Virginia was actually number 1.
Mhm. That's what I
So
thought.
I think we're doing a good job of getting it out as fast as possible. Obviously, you're not ever going to get it to everyone that wants it at the same time. It's just not going to be able to happen. But yes, I would stress that it is not the health department that makes that decision. It's not county commission. That decision is made at the state level, and we just simply give out. When I get a shot, it has a name attached to it. And we have a little bit of leeway. If I have someone that cancels out and doesn't want it, then I can try to find another first responder that wants it, or somebody else, a volunteer or something like that, because they don't want us to waste shots. But for the most part, when I get a shot in, I get a spreadsheet with a list of names to go along with the shots that I receive. Obviously, with the exception of the 80 and above, that is pretty much, we just kind of compile a list of people that call us, and we try to do our best with first come, first service calls. But more of those will come out, and hopefully we can get as much of that population vaccinated as quickly as we can.
Do you feel that you're staffed adequately to continue working as you need to through this? I know that there's a lot of other misconceptions out there, But I just want, I think you can keep 10 more people, but extremely busy, but is that something that,
Yeah, the answer to that question is no, we're not, but I don't foresee a way we could be. I mean, I could have 30 people working at the health department right now, and we wouldn't be able to keep up with everything. And that's the same in every health department. So I think it's a case where, we definitely don't have enough people working to do it, but no county and state does right now. I'll give you an example of that. When we send case investigations, we're allowed to send 20 case investigations to the National Guard. The National Guard in Charleston is currently doing, I believe it's 300 case investigations a day. Usually by 10 o'clock in the morning, they've reached their capacity. And the same thing with contact tracing at the state level. They reach their capacity very quickly. Health departments have reached their capacity. So as far as case investigation and contact tracing, it's behind everywhere. And there is absolutely nothing we can do to catch it up. That's why the vaccine is so important, and people realizing at this point, knowing what to do if you test positive. We're far enough into this that we hope people know what to do and just choose to do the right thing without being called and told they need to. If you test positive, you need to isolate. If you're a contact of a positive, you need to quarantine. People just need to do that.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's complex at the same
Yeah.
time. It's something that is hard to do, but it's what we need to do until we can get enough vaccine out that we can, send this thing down the other side of the hill. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.
That brings us down to our next appointment, Jay Shea, the prosecuting attorney, pension of employees and new hire.
You have this letter in your packet.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I did send you all a letter, I think last week, the week before. Of course, I didn't have the authority to act at that time, but I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up. So as you know, the commission has the power of advice and consent with regard to any elected officials, employees, and what I would like to propose for the commission to adopt is retaining all of the current employees of the prosecuting attorney's office at their current salaries. And of course, as you know, we do have a vacancy in the office. Savannah Wilkins was elected as prosecuting attorney in Tucker County, and I would like to propose that my former law partner, Aaron Yoho, be hired to fill that position as assistant prosecuting attorney at her same salary. In addition to all that, I want to throw one other thing into the mix. We haven't had this for quite some time in the county, but there are counties in the state that have designated one of the assistant prosecuting attorneys as a chief or some other title, and I would like to ask for authority from the commission to appoint Ann Armstrong as chief assistant prosecuting attorney. And I'm requesting that in recognition of her many years of service. She's been an employee of the office since 2004, honestly, before I was. And she has much talent and much skill, and I want to do this for several reasons, not the least of which I think it's important to have some level of hierarchy so that we know, so the office knows who's in charge in the event of my absence for whatever reason. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I see that's a couple of different motions, and I think we're prepared to do that. If that's, so my first motion would be to, at your suggestion, to hire Aaron P. Yoho as one of your assistant prosecuting attorneys at the salary that was given to the previous person holding that post, $71,200.
I second that motion?
We have a motion before and a second to approve the hiring of Mr. Yoho as the assistant prosecuting attorney. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Stone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The other motion then would be to, I don't know that we need a motion on that. It's not changing his salary, it's.
I think technically speaking, anytime a new office holder, actually, I think anytime an elected official's office comes to a close, even if they're, reelected, I think technically you should probably pass the new, keep the same slate of employees, but pass them as new employees of the office.
Oh, okay. I'm good with that. I just meant the naming as your first assistant
Oh,
or whatever. I don't think we need to be involved with that.
Okay,
But I would.
I don't necessarily think so either, I just wanted to bring it to your
Right.
attention.
Well, good, appreciate that. So my other motion then would be to retain all other, prosecutors request all other employees at their current salaries from the previous administration.
I will second that motion.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to approve the retention rehire of all the employees at the prosecuting attorney's office for the current salaries and rates. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Stan?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. I guess I should have mentioned this earlier. I would like this to be effective as of January, make it retroactive to January 1st.
We'll add that'll be part of the motion.
Thank you so much.
This is what we're going. Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back, I guess is.
All right. This time, yeah.
Make a motion that we pay the bills as they've been reviewed.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to review and pay the approved bills. Commissioner Stan?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for November 19th, 2020.
Second.
The motion on the floor and a second to approve the November 19th minutes. Commissioner Stan?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
We have two estates from the clerk's office, and that would be for Lloyd Graham and Shirley Williford. I move we approve those.
I'll second that motion.
Motion on the floor and a second to approve the estate settlements. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Stan?
Yes.
Yes. Move for the fiduciary commissioner. Brings us to the old business and the new business, that brings us down to administrative report. Ms. Kathy.
First item is two sets of equalization. These have been prepared, sent to the state for confirmation of a date for minerals. Those would start Friday, January 29th, 10 a.m. to noon. Thursday, February 4th is tentative minerals, depending on what the state. Wednesday, February 10 is 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, February 12th is minerals, an alternate date. Now, on the date that they don't choose, we will be sitting as Board of Equalization. The assessor knows that they can set appointments for those dates, either one. But we wanted to give the state some flexibility since they're trying to group those regionally. And the last day would be February 16th, noon to 1. So that's the Board of Equalization. I'd ask that the commission approve the schedule.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the Board of Equalization review schedule 2021. Commissioner Stan?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
On COVID, we didn't necessarily have a report today, but it's very fluid. So as everyone knows, or I hope they know, we certainly sent out a news release yesterday to say that the annex building is closed to walk-in traffic until further notice. I can tell you that the appointments are already working. We've already had a couple of appointments already this morning. We want to encourage everyone to, number one, use any online service that they can during this time. And the second is to call for an appointment. We have signs posted at the location. We also sent it to the press. So hopefully this is only a temporary thing and we can open as soon as possible. Actually, it's a reduction in staff due to the negative impact of COVID. So any questions on that? We continue to work with the health department. The vaccinations continue in the health department today, even though the regular business is closed.
The only question I have is everybody that's been identified that had contact has been
Yes.
quarantined and they're out of.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As anybody that we have is either who has tested positive has been instructed to isolate. Anybody that is a contact of the positive has been instructed to quarantine. So to the best of my knowledge, unless something happened since we arrived this morning, which is always a
Well,
possibility.
there is that.
But right now,
possibility.
I think that all those, in fact, we're contacting staff because the health department is overwhelmed with what they have to do. So, of course, if any employee has a question, they're welcome to call. So I think we're good there. I do have miscellaneous correspondence. Unfortunately, we have another masonry problem at the courthouse. If you remember, we had the one on the west side, which was over the doorway. I have received a quote for that one, and I need to get with the prosecuting attorney just to look at this. This may be something that we need to bid.
What exactly is the problem?
The next problem is on the fire escape. If you remember that bump out that we have in the back, we have stone pushed out. I've already sent the photographs to Keystone. They're very aware of it. They'll get someone down to look at it. That whole area is blocked off. That's all we can do. We've taken every precaution we know to take. I've notified everybody over there. The judge's entrances, we're not having anyone go in that way. It's just something that happens over the years. So everyone's aware. That's all we can do right now. This is the freezing and thawing causes real problems. So I wanted to talk to the prosecutor about either putting it in one bid, since I already know I have an additional problem, and we just haven't had a chance to meet on that yet. So,
Can't imagine why. You've been on the job all one day.
so that's something we have. Still waiting on your building down there, just the weather hasn't cooperated with us long enough to do that. I am going to get with the new sheriff to schedule something about, if you remember, I brought to your attention that Kingwood would like to do that safe zone. And I have not had an opportunity to talk to the new sheriff yet, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we can at least sit down and talk about that.
I think the prosecutor ought to be a piece of that conversation.
Sure, I think that's a good idea, because the cases you're dealing with are what's gonna be affected by that, so.
Well, and I'll be happy to forward you the emails. I just really haven't had an opportunity to do that. Let me see, the calendar wise, I do believe that we have this week, which is Solid Waste Authority is Wednesday, is that correct, Dawn?
Yes, the
Okay.
only change that's gonna be is because of just the uptick in, possibility of infection, everything else, we're moving that to a teleconference. And I'll get that out to all the members.
Okay.
Actually, some of the members already have the teleconference information. I'll get that out to the press today. I just got the teleconference set up yesterday. But I wanted to do that as a precautionary measure because I know people don't feel secure meeting. Also, with Christmas just having happened and New Year's just having happened, I mean, I know I stayed at the house, but not everybody did. So just to keep everybody's fears down and all that, I think it's for the best. So that will be a teleconference setup.
You get good,
Because we have some bills and things we have to pay.
get good attendance with that?
Usually everybody, well, I haven't done a teleconference yet. But when we have a meeting, usually we haven't had a problem getting a quorum. I mean, we had to cancel December meetings just because of that snowstorm we got. An ice storm and everything we had that same evening, so. But generally, we have very good attendance, so. And municipalities are good about attending too, so that's very helpful to get their input on stuff.
Did send out to the cleanup committee, the ordinance that's been sitting out there, did request for all comments due back. Another one that the prosecutor and I will be looking at. I want him to review what has gone to the committee. I've asked for all comments. We hope to have a meeting coming up in January to see if there's something ready to present to the commission.
Great.
Also got a response back from the warden's office at the Hazelton. We had tentatively looked at actually next week having some kind of Zoom meeting between all parties. He's not available that week, however, is available the next week. So I'm gonna try today to get a date solid for that. I would suggest that we hold it on our end at the 911 center where we have lots of space and lots of ability to accommodate. We'd like to make sure that or prosecuting attorney is there, as well as the new sheriff, as well as the health officer. So we want to make sure that we've got plenty of room to spread out. And of course, you're available to do that in your office as well. So I'm very hopeful to have a date, and I will attach it to everybody's calendar. I think that's all I have. Oops. I think that's all I have today. Any questions for me?
No.
Thank you.
No budget revisions, apparently. Like that. Anybody else have any other comments? Commissioner Stone?
Yes, actually, I have a couple things. As far as funding goes, for our county health department, the county commission does fund our health department in multiple ways. There has been some negative social media flying around saying that we have cut the funding from our health department, which is not true. There was some funding that we had allotted for septic system things in previous budgets that we decided to hold on to those funds. And then it is a huge contribution from the county commission to the health department for the space that we provide and the other services that they share that the county pays for. So I did want to give some clarity there to the citizens in the county, that the county commission does support fully the Preston County Health Department and all their efforts during this pandemic and all the time. And that also our administrator puts a lot of time, hours that she works for the commission in helping with grants and different things that they've gone after. So we do help in a lot of different capacities. So I just wanted to make.
We do have a reimbursement coming back to the health department from the CARES funding that we received. I believe it's going to be around $20,000. We're waiting on one section to arrive, and you'll probably be seeing that voucher to give that money back to the health department. So we were successful in receiving. We have one more to go. Hopefully I can get that out today, but we've been successful to get 100% of what he's requested.
Good, that's great. Yeah, because I know that's one of the things we've been working on with him, to make sure we got that, whatever grants were out there, covered a lot of the costs they had, so. Anything else? Mr. Preston?
Have a road thing to mention, and the Department of Highways is aware of it. It's on one of the roads in Terrata that is being used as a bypass to get to Salt Lake from Route 7, since that bridge. And that's another thing I would like to go back to. The last time we sent letters to the railroad and to the Department of Highways, I think the response was basically, it's him. And I would like to make it a priority to send a letter to both that requests a honest, truthful answer about where that stands. They pledged that they would redo that bridge before now.
I think that is the honest, truthful answer. I think that somebody needs to step up and take
Well,
responsibility.
that's exactly what it is, because they were supposed to, their timeline was, it was supposed to have been started by now.
It's easier to just
Now, whether
pass it off.
finished is another thing, but started, it's just.
3 years.
Yeah, and they said 3
And
years, and we're
that's,
like,
you
okay,
know.
we have an answer, but it's been
So.
3 years.
But anyway, so that's what we're in a fresh new year, and I'm just picking irritated at everything being in a standstill and pointing at everybody else for not getting it done. And
Yeah.
That's one of them. Another one is over in Tunnelton. And I know there's some progress that's there, but again, it seems like when you're dealing with the railroad, there is no one there.
Now, I do think,
Lights on, nobody.
that one, I do know there was some information that came out from District 4 about they're starting that drainage project.
Right, and
So
if they-
hopefully that'll take care of a lot.
There's a little bit of relief, that's great. So that's the latest, and we'll see how long it takes to drain it,
Yeah,
or to get that done.
right.
I'd say by the turn of the century, everything will be looking up.
I think it's important that we do not lax on the fact that voters went to the polls and voted for bonds to be passed. And those bonds were specific for new construction. of roadways, highways, different bridges, and different things. And so we still have not received that funding, not because they didn't have plans, because it's my understanding that there was plans that they wanted to redo bridges down at Bull Run or different things with, but
Yeah.
those things didn't happen, and so we are still waiting for our new construction, whether it be, a corridor H from Preston through the county to make us more accessible and open for additional growth and economic development.
Or passing lane on Cadell Mountain.
We need to have these discussions with the DOH to get this moving. It's been conversation, Economic Development Authority feels that we are held back from growth in the county because we're not accessible. So we need to work in conjunction with the DOH, Department of Transportation, everybody down in Charleston to say, hey, how can we get our infusion of the new to get other things happening here? So I think that those are conversations in this year that we really need to focus on.
Well, I think we ought to start right now.
Well, that was gonna be my suggestion, is we should reach out
Reach out.
And we,
to them to set up a meeting with them, a
Well,
Zoom meeting like
that
that.
was-
and
That's in
that's on the thing.
Yeah.
One thing we cannot do is we can't ignore the fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and that makes things extremely difficult. So yes, we want to do it right now, but we need to be doing as much as we can behind the scenes to see if we can get to,
We need to remind them at least that we want to, I think that's where we were with the meeting. We wanted to remind
Right.
the Department of Highways that we're paying attention and that we understand that things have been kind of, difficult. But, there is no reason why we can't sit in a room, socially distanced with masks at a Zoom meeting with the Department of Highways.
Right.
There's no reason why it can't happen, and we haven't been able to do that yet, have we, Kathy?
Sir, I haven't scheduled anything for you, to be
Right.
very honest, because I wasn't sure what direction you were going to be. And two things. Number one, we want to make sure we have the right parties that you're requesting at the table. Because we want to make sure that, because it can be very complicated on, you gotta get the bridge guy, the right-of-way
This
guy.
engineer, this
So we want to make
project
sure that, we want to stay focused. And so if you, the 24 roads was our first concern. We wanted to know what the priorities of those 24 roads were. And that was just correspondence, to the best of my knowledge. That was just to see if they had dates set of what was going to happen with those 24 roads
and
that
the
we
work
started
that
with.
was intended to be
And the
done.
work, and dates, if possible, of when that work was going to be accomplished.
Well, I'd just like to put
This
it on the
meeting-
front burner, that's all.
This
You know,
meeting, I think
this
that if you want a meeting about new construction, I just want to make sure that I'm asking on your behalf of the right parties.
We'll have a little work session and decide again what that is, and then let's do that.
Yeah, let's
Okay?
set up a meeting.
Yeah. We had another thing that I was contacted with, and I know the Department of Highways is aware, that near that bridge on what would be called Bridge Street, that you go on for about 100 yards or a little less, in that detour, there is a drainage hole in the road with no grate over it. It's extremely deep, and it's actually causing sinkholes in the residents' yard because of the water buildup that can't drain. Now, as I understand it, the town has contacted Department of Highways, and they said when they get their sucker truck, when they have enough work to bring the sucker truck to town, then they would fix that. But I think that until then, I believe that maybe they ought to barricade that so somebody doesn't drown or drive into it or
Right.
something.
Some
Because it's
kind of
deep, it's not a little thing, it's a big thing. And, so I want to mention that so that people know that we're aware and that we're going to try to back up what the town's request. And, maybe we need more sucker trucks. I'm done.
Okay.
My rant's over.
Like Kathy mentioned, we do have a solid waste authority meeting on Wednesday evening. We'll be discussing a few things, be a teleconference this time around. And then we coming up, have a meeting with the CBD on the 19th of this month. Really, that's about
Yeah,
it.
do we need to change that meeting date again?
That's why I bring it up.
Okay.
We'll right now, as far as I know, we'll still continue these Zoom meetings, so we can have our meeting, we can move it to 9:30.
9:30?
No issue whatsoever.
Okay.
Just bump it back a half hour. It's
I'll
not
take
going anywhere, so it shouldn't be an issue whatsoever.
That's the
And
next.
it's the start of the new year, hopefully, they'll give us a good idea. They have a new board that's coming on at the CBD and everybody that's taking place. So hopefully we'll see, and hopefully this will be a much better year than last year as far as, funding and things of that sort. They have had a little uptick in things, but still with the pandemic that's going on and people not traveling, it's making it very difficult on the hotel motel industry and the restaurants and everything else. So, unfortunately.
When you're done, I have one other thing I'd like to wrap it up with. I'd like to congratulate and thank Samantha for the year of, what a strange year. The year before was strange and it was difficult and stressful. And then this past year was difficult and stressful, and it was worse than the normal year in a lot of ways. And she stepped right up and did a fabulous job. And that's the old goat talking here, so thank you.
No, I
Appreciate it.
I want to thank you too, Sam, for serving as president this past year. It's been very difficult, very strenuous, very stressful for everyone, so thank you very much.
Well, she did a good job because it changed every day.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else. This meeting is then adjourned.